man. I do what I do.
In the United States, all right? When you get a racially charged environment, racially charged politics, it gets exported, okay? Here's something I thought was interesting. I think you all may know about this also.
When you are talking about the permanent resettlement of an entire ethnic group from the place they call home, that's called ethnic cleansing. And instead it's like, oh,
Bitch.
And then this is a guy from the UK. He says, oh man, he says y'all doing the same thing to us in Great Britain. Listen to
you. That in London, the white British population has decreased by 600,000, while the minority population has increased by 1.2 million. Yeah. So, yes, lads, we're winning. It's on the table as
so it's almost like, okay, so you all know what you're doing. You're coming over here occupying our country, trying to take over. And so there's not even any plausible deniability, And so my man said, bitch, that's terrible, man. I shouldn't be laughing at that. But anyway, and then also, you guys probably know about this. This is Donald Trump and Elon Musk's plan.
You can't make this shit up. He signed an executive order today. It's on whitehouse.gov. And it's about South Africa. That's weird. Here's the executive order. He basically says that the government of South Africa is illegally taking land and property from the ethnic minority in South Africa. In case you don't know who that is, he's talking about white.
Basically, you got white people who came down to South Africa 300-400 years ago. They took over. They set up industries, families, whatever. They've done well for themselves, right? And for the black masses have not. And so the black masses are looking at that and say, hey, you have all this stuff over there, the land, the farming, blah, blah. And so the government stepped in and said, well, we're going to take some of this land back from these European people who came down here who aren't supposed to be here in the first place. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to give it to them. So, of course, Elon Musk, who's best buddies with Donald Trump and also the richest man in the world, says to the most powerful man in the world, I need you to, do me a solid. My people back in the motherland are suffering from tyranny. And so I need you to go ahead and put some of those sanctions on these folks. And so that we can put some heat on them. And so, yeah, it's like, all right, whatever, and Donald Trump comes across as the type of person, all right, cool. Yeah, sure, no problem. Quick decision maker. Now, here's the thing I also want to explain to you all. There's a reason why white folks typically keep the racial stuff on the low, and I've explained to you all before that, and I think anybody who knows basic demographics understands that white people represent a small percentage of the people on the planet, only 7%. And so it makes no sense to make enemies out of the rest of the world. So they got to have plausible deniability, because what happens is, when you start letting the world know, hey, we're going to just go ahead and systematically begin to treat brown people and black people and whoever other colored people unfairly, then you're going to get pushback. And it makes it very difficult for them to operate. And so here's an example of that happening. This is a Hispanic, a white, well, she looks white. She looks white, okay? And she's got a MAGA hat on. And everybody around the world is seeing what's happening to Mexicans and Latinos in America, okay? So what do you think is going to happen when she gets off the plane? You think she's going to be See, now you can't hide it, okay? You got a MAGA hat on. And now you can't hide it. Keep listening.
Why do you come to Mexico if you don't like Mexicans?
Why you come to Mexico if you didn't like me? Look at her response. I'm half Mexican. Look, watch what she said. Why you come to Mexico if you don't have a Mexican?
Why do you come to Mexico if you don't like Mexicans?
I'm half Mexican.
Then you voted for.
I'm half Mexican. She trying to be slick with her response with the little small. She probably has some margaritas on
Trump.
the phone.
So you're one of those self-hating ones, motherfuckers? Go back to fucking America. Nobody wants you here, bitch.
Yeah, see, that's what happens when the world recognizes that you're racist. You see what I'm saying? That's what happens. And so this is what we're dealing with, okay? And this is the world that we live in right now. And I've tried to explain this to certain family members and folk. And this is where we are. All right. And it's just something to think about. Now, shout out to everybody who's still hanging out with me. We're going to go ahead and get into the teaching. We're going to learn something. I'm going to try to put this in historical context. I've already laid out the foundation. I've explained what backlash means, right? We got that, right? We got that, huh? You know, this is what we see right now. We see in 2025, we see history repeating itself again. We're seeing the latest wave of white backlash and xenophobia. And it's in response to these mass protests against these deportations. It's in response to overwhelming immigration, you know, coming in from countries that, you know, have different cultures. This is what we're dealing with. Separate yourself from your emotions, deal with it. All right. Make yourself a scientist and deal with it without emotion. Okay. Let's try to place ourselves in the position of folk that we're trying to understand. Okay. It's a hard truth. Shout out to Quantum Solace. Now, as far as to black folk, you need to stay aware. Okay. Because not only were we first, but we also next. Maybe not to get deported. All right. But the same system that has turned its focus on the Latino immigrant community and the African community and the Arab community, it'll eventually redirect its attention back to us. Y'all know that, right? We've already been through this cycle half a dozen times, easy. We saw it during the war on drugs. We saw it during the civil rights movement. We're seeing it now. The unrest that's unfolding, it's not going to stop with one community. Okay, it's going to be a ripple outward. And if you know, and you also see that the Black and Latino communities are going to be pitted against each other, and that's of course going to, you know, weaken our respective strengths. Now, so let's kind of dig into this a little bit more. Why now? Why do we see this rising backlash against Latino communities? And I've talked about this before, but basically, in this climate where extreme measures are being taken against these illegal immigrants, people running up in their houses, police force stopping people's cars, knocking on their doors, you know, tensions are reaching a boiling point, and we're witnessing the early stages of another major backlash. Now, the Latino community is facing not only legal and political threats, but it's also social and economic consequences. These folks came up here to work. They can't even work. Your father's being taken away. Your mother's being taken away. Okay. And so there's a lot of economic circumstances going on, or consequences. And when fear and uncertainty spread, history has shown us that certain reactions become inevitable. Number one, and we saw this on the video, vigilantism. People are going to be taking the law into their own hands, you know, and when you have people who believe that the system isn't working fast enough, right, they start taking matters in their own hands. And we've seen it before. And as immigration crackdowns escalate, some people and groups may begin to form what we would call militias or patrols in areas with high Latino populations. We saw that on the border a few years back. They call them the Minutemen. They're going to harass and they're going to threaten folks, or even attack those who they suspect of being undocumented, and that's going to escalate tensions in dangerous levels. That's what the KKK did to Black people back during the Reconstruction period, right after Reconstruction period. Now, on the flip side, you're going to have Latino communities. They're going to begin to form their own protective groups to defend against these threats. Okay. Even in the 1920s and 30s, they had gangs in Los Angeles called White Fence and these sort of folks. Many of those Latino gangs that we see now were formed as protective groups because they were brutalized and beat, you know, because of racism when they first came to this country. And so they formed to defend threats. And this is going to lead to direct confrontations. And this is not the 1920s. There's people who are heavily armed, automatic weapons. Some people have access to, military grade weapons. And so we can see a lot of further escalating violence and tension between groups. Specifically, I'm talking about the Latinos and whatever vigilante white groups show up. And so here's another thing. When the legal system starts to reflect a racial and ethnic bias, then the consequences are going to be severe. What's up? Welcome to the broadcast. This is Uncle D. People wash their ass in the tub, Kamala Harris.
You would tune in to Uncle D. D's black man talk. Pull up, homie, take a seat. Don't be a shadow watcher every day. You learn something and you earn something. And let them know and drop some money in the plate. It's getting cold, ladies, talking ratchet. There's a king here, grab your coat, zip your jacket. Keep quiet for a second, close your jaw. Attorney Spurling, this ain't pearly, know the law. Talking Constitution, pushing pins when he shooting, give him that. Masculinity, just for the record, sprinkle that. You can keep your cat, gotta cut it. Only cat he rubbing, gotta love it. I call it Holly Buddy. Gotta vote your interest, voting earns. Presidential, this is for the money that I earn. When you gon' learn, my people, that evil mixed with evil. No matter what you're doing, baby, this ain't equal. Sometimes when you're special, you get hated. The test is for the best, you're damn right, my people made it. Uncle D, Blizzard King, you been served, gotta know this. Now black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you been served, get your notice now. Black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you been served, get your notice now. Black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now. Uncle D, you been served, get your notice now. Black men out here know we winning, gotta hold it now.
Hey man, I'll do what I do.
Somebody need to whip your ass.
Get up and whip him, Sweets.
Hey, don't be putting the money in my hand all rough.
Take your ass out here. You buy you a Flowbee and cut your own damn hair from now on.